We've got Hasu. Mouse card counters Hasu spawning down in the bottom right, and the Baby Knight, who I think is on a team, but I'm not sure which team, up in the top left. And, man. Oh yeah, now I remember what I was going to say. You're so right. Hasu is textbook standard, Andre. Whenever somebody comes to me and they say, hey, how do you play standard Protoss versus Terran? Or, hey, how do you play standard Protoss versus Zerg? My answer is always the same, HasuObs.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting that he's had so much success, because I've seen time and time again, especially in the North American Star League, people just straight out hard countering the guy. People trying to take advantage of his style, knowing that he doesn't really, go for that super aggressive either economic build or super aggressive micro build. And they just take one of those and say, HasuObs, let's just play until endgame, but I have a development advantage on you. And HasuObs like, yeah, no problem, man. I'll go into the end game and just outplay you overall. It's really cool to watch him as he just makes so many intelligent moves throughout the game. He gives up these, small little 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% advantages just because he knows he's a better player.
Man, I just happened to tab over into the TL Live Report thread, and I saw right away that I misspoke. It's not mouse card counters Hasu, it's card coaches. My bad, Mouse Sports and Mouse Sports fans everywhere. Card Coaches, the title sponsor of Mouse.
Well, that's why we have such an excellent community. Bitter.
Not card counters, even though counting cards.
Dude, how sick
really
would that
cool,
be,
man.
right?
It's just like some really rich guy that goes and plays blackjack for just hours and just counts all day. And he's like, you know what, I'm going to sponsor HasuObs.
Not bad, man. Not bad at all. It's also interesting that we have the two different styles on a map like Ohana. Now let's break it down. I know you are actually living with the PvP legend Rotterdam, as he is. Tell us a little about this, because I know he's talked about Ohana PvP for quite a long time now.
Well, Ohana PvP, I feel like comes out, I'm going to say a lot like Antigua PvP. A lot, but not exactly identical. Like Antigua, the real defining characteristic of that map is that there's massive surface area up into the main bases. Shakur's Plateau is another one that has kind of the same sort of landscape, same sort of geography, where you can use observers and blink stalkers to really annoy your opponent. Ohana features some of that, but not a ton of that. So while blink stalker openings are still very possible and very viable, it's a little bit more possible here to do like robotics expands. I try to combine robo and robotics. Robo expands with things like sentries and immortals and zealots. So I think if I had to make a prediction, I would say that Hasu is going to be the guy that tries to play robo, and the Baby Knight, I do think he's going to be the blink stalker player, but you never know. Really, you just don't know.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I know Naniwa and I were actually talking about this map quite a bit, and he just says, expansions are pretty solid. You can go blink stalkers, but it's not like Antigua Shipyard, as you were saying, where you can really pressure your opponent and you're fine. Also, the ramp is a little bit smaller than Antigua Shipyard, so it's actually a lot easier to force field things out. We've seen a lot of force field expands, I should say, and any combination of units after that, whether it be Immortals, whether it be even whether it be Phoenixes, some sort of Sentry expand just to keep you safe, and you can deflect everything pretty easily.
With these guys going to 3 gates right away, and the Baby Knight dropping that proxy pylon, Hasu goes ahead and throws down that robo as we predicted. So maybe a little bit of a 3-gate pressure from Baby Knight, as these first stalkers are going to come forward, and he's going to get a good engagement using that probe to absorb some shots. Doesn't have a really close pylon. He's got to be careful not to get cut off, and he is going to get cut off. Stalkers are up the ramp. They're going to kill a zealot, but the rest are going to die.
Very nicely
one of the
played.
Very nicely played by Hasu. One of the things that I've always been really impressed with in Hasu's plays is micro. He's got some of the best control that you're going to see, and he's one of the best PvPers in the foreign scene. And he played that perfectly, but Baby Knight's got 4 more stalkers. They're going to walk right up the ramp, and Hasu was not prepared for this. He was out of position. Warps in 1 stalker, but he's not got a ton of money, and now he's got 4 stalkers in his main, and what is Baby Knight going to do? He's going to pick off the pylon and try to run away. Is there enough energy for force field? There is not. What are you doing, Baby Knight? Why? This was so
man,
good
4
for you,
against
and now
5.
you're staying too long. More reinforcements coming, but Hasu with the excellent control, once again, just going to warp in a Zealot. BabyKnight still has a lot of Stalkers, but he's losing so many units. And I feel like that
absolutely
was a little bit
brilliant,
misplayed.
though. Yeah, I think BabyKnight keeping there, staying on four Stalkers against 5 Stalkers wasn't right. Yes, he had reinforcements coming, but just wait for those reinforcements. Don't go ahead and engage, because you're always going to get the disadvantage here. Now, all HasuObs has to do is wait for that Immortal, and he's A-OK. However, he is supply capped right now, but the Immortal comes out. He still has enough units to actually tank damage. There's no way BabyKnight can do anything more. HasuObs is going to take a gigantic advantage from this. I would even say just go for the 1-base push. There's no reason to actually take an expansion after this, knowing that you have such a huge lead in your tech for so long.
Yeah, BabyKnight's in a really, really awkward spot now, Andre. That was all 3-gate pressure, by the way, guys. No 4th gateway. He's going to go ahead and drop the Twilight Council. So it is Robo versus Blink, or it will be Robo versus Blink whenever Blink comes into play, if Blink comes into play. But like you said, Hasu's got a great lead. He's got equal gateway production. He's got the Robo. He's got the Immortal out. Stalkers are going to be so much less effective. He's already done a robotics base very quickly, so he might even just go on straight up to Colossus. And, you know, a Colossus push against the expanding BabyKnight isn't the worst idea, because you can just crush the force fields with the Colossus and then just attack, move right into that natural expand.
And look at this, it might not be. A Warp Prism is on the way out, so he might be looking to do Speed Warp Prism. That's very possible. I think, you know, the natural progression after that would be to go Colossus as well. But look at this, 4 Zealots getting queued up right here. They're going to go directly into the Warp Prism as soon as it pops out. And BabyKnight just going to try to poke in with a couple of Zealots here, see if they can catch anything out of position. But, you know, BabyKnight is definitely doing the risks needed to actually get back into this, seeing that HasuObs got a big advantage from that opening. But, you know, let's see if he's actually able to hold this, as he's doing everything right. Look at this, bringing back the units at the perfect time, saying, okay, well, I am susceptible to this type of attack. Let me go ahead and just recede backwards and make sure I can receive anything.
And I love what Hasu's doing, Andre. He's not sending his Immortal in this Warp Prism. He's just sending 4 Zealots. And that's good for a couple of reasons. One, Immortal Harass is great, but Zealot Harass is really just as good, honestly. Immortals are better against Stalkers, but, I mean, the purpose of Harass is harass, right? It's not to go and pick big fights. And if Hasu had sent the Immortal with that drop, then that opens up a real big opportunity for BabyKnight to get aggressive once again. So Hasu, with just those Zealots in that Warp Prism, has a really substantial thing that he can threaten BabyKnight with later on. Right now, Blink is done, and the Stalkers are going to try to pick the fight. They got to be very careful. They're taking some heavy damage. That Immortal, as we've already pointed out, hammering away, doing some good damage. One Stalker getting away with just 4 hit points.
But also think what the Warp Prism does against a potential Blink Stalker build. I mean, if I have 4 Zealots popping out and then I do another round of units, how many Stalkers do you actually have to commit to stopping that particular, you know, harassment? So it's actually a great movement thing where you can just force all the Blink Stalkers to back up as much as possible, and then you take advantage of that. You're the one that's really catching your opponent at the position of the natural, and then you just take it to them. And that's a great way to actually win the game. Zealots will be dropped at the natural, and they're going to town on the probes. Wow! Clearing up everything.
Slow to react there. He's going to finally warp in some Stalkers there and try to chase this away. In the midst of all this, Hasu is pushing, and I love how he did that. He attacked with the Colossus and the Stalkers first, then he unloaded. So, I mean, BabyKnight was very clearly looking at his Stalkers, which were on Hasu's side of the map initially. Now, Hasu's got a big, scary force here, but BabyKnight's got a lot of Stalkers, and with perfect control, maybe he can make something happen, but he can't be losing units like that. Very carelessly losing 2 Stalkers there.
Very true. Nice. Force fields are going to go down there, but the Colossus have 9 range. That helps out so much so they can constantly poke in, poke out, poke in, poke out. For now, Hasu just going to wait until he has some reinforcements coming over here. The pylon is almost finished, but this is so correct. I love what we're seeing. Big Blink!
Just gonna go for it. He will kill the Colossi, but the Zealots and the Immortals doing some massive damage.
Oh, and look at this switch.
Still pretty close, though.
It's tough. I mean, there are 2 Immortals out in the field. Additional Zealots are being warped in here. It's gonna be tough. I mean, it's all based on micro at this point.
Really cute micro here from BabyKnight, trying to hang in there. Still, Sentry gonna drop a force field, but the Immortals are the real problem here. They just represent so much damage and so much of an ability. Ooh, good micro again by BabyKnight, and Hasu decides he has to back up a little bit. Starting to take that supply lead is Hasu. 43 army supply to 28. That's becoming pretty massive, and the Immortals just being the heroes of the day here, Andre.
Yeah, now the sentries get in here. That'll actually cause, HasuObs to back up. Ooh, wasted a sentry force field right there. Very nicely played. Obviously, 2 is going to split that ramp in half, so HasuObs is still in a tough position. I mean, all BabyKnight has to do from here is actually just get additional sentries. But it's kind of like a coin flip. Is my opponent going additional immortals or not? Here we go. Force shielding off the first immortal. This is going to do a lot of damage. BabyKnight actually in a great position, in my opinion.
Zealous doing an okay job, but one immortal dies. I don't think there's energy for any more forces, and the BabyKnight's going to have to give up that ramp. Hasu making it all the way up into the natural. He's forgotten one of his immortals, though. I'm not sure that it matters as the one that did make it up the ramp. Doing a great job, but he's going to be cornered by Zealots. Great micro by BabyKnight. But unfortunately, it just is not going to be enough. There's just too many units for Hasu. Baby going to blink up into his main there.
Yeah, I thought BabyKnight had more firepower in that last fight, but he just did not. Now he has to just go up into his main and cover that ramp. That's going to be difficult in and of itself. HasuObs in a commanding lead now that he has taken out this natural, or he's going to at least. And with 3 immortals, my god.
Yeah, that's just too much, man. I wanted to say nobody puts Baby in a corner, but Hasu has done just that. Crushes the natural, and BabyKnight completely trapped up here in his main. What can he do? Very little. He can try to hold this ramp with force fields, but Hasu's expanding now, and he doesn't have to continue to attack. He can back off. He can do whatever he wants, really.
Yep. I was thinking one thing he could do is just do a permanent force field on that ramp, get 4 more sentries out ASAP, and then blink out your stalkers, try to go for the counterattack. That's maybe all I can see possible, but HasuObs is right now so far ahead. I don't even think that would work at this point.
Yeah, BabyKnight trying to just hang on with everything he's got, but he's choking on.
He's going for it. He's going for it. He was supply capped, by the way. That's why he waited this long. But now HasuObs is doing the right decision. And unfortunately for HasuObs, he's not the one that's been teching up to that Blink Stalker. He really needs the Blink Stalker to keep up with the mobility of all these Stalkers. But he should be okay. He has a Colossus all the way in the back. I don't know. It's going to be tough.
Hasu's making a great read, though, Andre. He's building a Dark Shrine, realizing that BabyKnight never made a robotics, so even if these Stalkers do massive amounts of damage, if the Dark Shrine finishes, that's going to be curtains for BabyKnight. Stalkers do pick off a Colossus, and they are going to be microed very cutely here in the main base of Hasu, but look at this. Hasu's army is right there.
Oh, there it goes. Nicely done by Hasu.
Yeah, really playing very well.
At this point, I mean, we could definitely say that HasuObs is in a position where he just cannot lose. BabyKnight is mining from 2 mineral patches. Each of them have a combined total of 170 minerals left. Now it's just 1 mineral patch, so not looking good for BabyKnight. This is going to be his last hurrah before he's probably going to have to tap out.
Yep. Of course, you're right on with that. One final push from BabyKnight, and one single DT from Hasu is going to make short work of all the sentries.
Yeah.
That's really frustrating. Slice. Yeah.
But I mean, BabyKnight played a great game in my opinion. But HasuObs had the better